I stand here with the dream of building a new Nepal, with a fire of hope and passion burning within me.
What's up, guys? So in today's video I want us to talk about Nepal. Guys, what's happening in Nepal? Of course, you all know the youths have come out and are like, to hell no, we are tired with this corruption. We are tired with our leaders who don't even want to fight for us. We are tired for these flashy lifestyles, being put out there in the social media by the children of this politician, and yet we can't even afford food, better housing, clean water, better medical facilities, better road. No, to hell. So, for the past couple of days or hours, the youths of Nepal, they have been in the streets fighting for their rights. But the way they are fighting for their rights, I can tell you it's not nice. Yeah, it's good to fight for your rights, to complain, but burning down houses, especially government houses, burning down the parliament, I mean, all these public buildings being burnt down. No, it shouldn't have been like that. And the kind of politics that is happening in Nepal, I can tell you it's toxic one. It's very toxic, because I have known Nepal to be this country that, is the cheapest when it comes to tourists visiting, that particular or those regions there. Them burning down all these things, of course, it will prevent these travel vloggers, tourists from visiting that particular country, because everything is burnt down. If you look at the aerial view of the city, it looks horrific, devastating. Everything is burnt. I mean, the Gen Zs, yeah, we understand you, we know you. Even in Kenya, the Gen Zs came out last year, protested against a financial bill which was meant to suppress citizens of Kenya, but they did not burn anything, they did not destroy, because they knew that if they destroyed anything, of course, it will be like, starting from zero. So Nepal at the moment, I can tell you that, that country is going to start from zero. The prime minister already resigned. So I wish they would have just protested, but no destroying anything. Guys, these people were celebrating actually. They were taking videos. It was like they had won. But when you look at the back of it all, no, there was nothing that had been won there, because, amid this smoke, these guys were singing, celebrating, nothing. I mean, they weren't even thinking about what next, starting from scratch. I mean, these people, okay, I don't know what you think about that. And then when you look at the prime minister of, labor, finance, these people, they went through a lot. They were actually being beaten because they believed that they were the most corrupt people or leaders or politicians in Nepal that made Nepal really poor. Instead of coming up with policies that would help support the economy of Nepal, they were actually contributing towards more and more corruptions, people stealing money, and they were not doing anything. So these guys, they were really beaten up, and all they didn't even have clothes. By the way, they only had their inner wears, and you see how these people were beaten. It was really
سنايبر بهالكتف شغل والله بالله سنايبر
really bad, but at least they did not unalive them. But the beatings that some of them received, oh, until one of them decided to jump into the river, and of course, living this luxurious life. And then when you are on the road, you are with a motorcade, and today you are just talking around, being beaten left, right, center. And actually, it was nice that this particular leader wore an helmet, because these beatings were really bad and tough, because some of them were hitting them, or were hitting him on the head really bad, and this could have actually caused an unaliving if he didn't have the helmet walking across the river. I mean, it was cruel. These people were really bitter, like extremely bitter. Okay, let me just laugh because the bitterness in it, and you are beating a minister like that. And guys, the Gen Z forces. I mean, if you look at the current world, it's a world that you cannot cheat, you cannot lie to. In the past, it was really easy for a politician to lie to their citizens, because a huge percentage of the citizens hadn't gone to school, studied. I'm talking about third world countries. But nowadays, these are different generation. And if you look at the Gen Zs, they are really confident on what they do, what they say. Like, you can't really control them. They actually, I think they have been, I mean, these Gen Zs, they are actually born, or they are lucky to be born in a time or in a century that people will really understand their rights. They know their rights. They know what is wrong, what is right. Okay, for the case of Nepal, of course, they know it was wrong. But you know what, guys? The police were there, but they ended up surrendering, because I think, the protest was really tough. And also, some of these wealthy people and the families to these politicians that were considered to be corrupt, they were really oiled up, and they were cornered, because the protesters were around these homes and houses, that an helicopter had to come and pick them up, being entering inside a basket, and then we are flown to a safety place. I mean, the Nepalese Gen Zs, they were really bitter, like extremely bitter. Of course, it's laughable. I mean, us watching it, we feel like laughing, but for them, they really felt thing that all them while they are being flown, because of course the helicopter couldn't have landed anywhere on the roof of those houses, because there was no flat roof. It was iron sheet, and the designs of iron sheets. And even if it was a flat roof iron sheet, it was impossible for any helicopter to land, because of the forces and the air pressure. This particular iron sheet would have come out, so they just had to enter into that stuff like a basket, and I can tell you, life is full of ups and downs, because probably like some few hours ago they were happy, living this luxurious life. The next thing, they're being saved, and particularly by an helicopter. And you never know about tomorrow. So they say that it's good to respect everybody, because I believe that if there is a government official that was really nice to these people, they will be, they will feel for them a little bit. So, of course, how did this revolution start, or the Gen Z's revolution? There is a student that came out with a very powerful speech, and I was talking to the citizens of Nepal. I think this speech really opened up their minds, because they were wondering, like, how is it that the young people are really doing much better than the older generation. I mean, there is something wrong. And of course, I'll actually find that clip and put it here for you so that you can listen to it.
Today I stand here with the dream of building a new Nepal, with a fire of hope and passion burning within me. But my heart is heavy because this dream seems to be slipping away. Rise and shines, futures of this upcoming imperial empire. I, Oshkar Raut, the head boy of this everlasting imperial institute, Holy Bell English Secondary School, welcomes you with open arms to our 24th annual program. I put myself before you this moment to shed light within your consciousness by piercing the dark nimbus that circles above you. I am present here today to immortalize a monumental change in the course of history. Nepal, our mother, this country gave us birth, nurtured us. But what did it ask in return? Just our honesty, our hard work, our contribution. But what are we doing? We are bounded by the chains of unemployment, fleeing abroad in search of opportunities. We are trapped by the selfish games of political parties. Corruption has woven a web that is extinguishing the light of our futures. Youth, rise! We are the torch bearers of change. If you do not raise our voices, who will? If you do not raise our voices, who will? If you do not build this nation, who will? We are the fire that will burn away the darkness. We are the storm that will sweep away injustice and bring prosperity. Our ancestors shed their blood to give us this nation. We cannot sell it. We cannot lose it. We are the fire. We will burn every despair away. Now we must decide. Now we must decide. Will we drown in the darkness of despair or rise as the sun of hope? Will we change the fate of this nation, or will we let it remain in shackles? King Birendra once said, even if I die, shall my country live on? All the youths, carry these words in your heart and engrave a monument of change in the course of history. Nepal is ours, and its future is in our hands. Jai Yuva! Jai Nepal!
Okay, at this particular city, Kathmandu, guys, if you look at the protesters in the streets, they were like, grains in a sack. Because, this one sack of a grain, of course, you cannot count it even to 1,000. It's so many tiny, and that's how they looked. And even the layers, the layers of security that was there at the end of the day, they were overpowered and they had to surrender. I mean, it was so crazy and funny. Honestly, for me, if that is how people, the Nepalese felt, it means that so much bad things were happening. We just don't know the root, the background of it in full, because these Asian countries, they speak really different country language, and following up on their news, of course, is really difficult, and unless you actually understand the language. It's been 3 days now. and people in the streets. Oh my God, Nepal! I didn't know that an Asian country would one day be revolutionized and come out in the streets and fight for their rights. And until the prime minister even resigned. My God, I just need to read more about the Nepal history. How long has this prime minister been in the office? What has he done for Nepal? The good things, that is now what the Nepalese were happy about. And what other stuffs has he done that the Nepalese people are so mad at him? But of course, it's those things that made the Nepalese people so mad that actually caused this. Anyway, of course, I think Nepal should enter into the Guinness Book of Record because it's the first government ever to be overthrown by the Gen Zs. The first ever government in the world to be overthrown by the Gen Zs. Other countries in other continents are being overthrown by, coup taking place, but here it's the Gen Zs, and they didn't even have firearms or anything that could, seriously hurt anyone. They just had phones and probably some sticks, some few objects, but not deadly ones. And also the police, oh man, did you see what the police went through? In the water, they were actually, they actually surrendered. Who thought that a police could reach that level? They surrendered. They were lifting their hands up and they're like, we are surrender. They even actually removed the police uniforms and entered in between, joined the crowd so that they couldn't be identified. But those who still had the uniforms on, they actually jumped into the same river as the one that the prime minister, I will say by now it's the former, because who calls himself or herself or identifies himself or herself be in that particular regime. Anyway, guys, also the families of these politicians, they went through hell. Even if they were not leaders, if you were just a relative like the wife, the child, and they found you, it was terrific. And guys, if you watch these particular clips of so many of these clips, you can actually see the protesters, going towards the police, retreating back, even running away, because you are like less than 100 and then being chased by, thousands of Nepali citizens. What do you expect? Hey, the police retreated, men, and they were lining up as they were surrendering. And this was funny, guys. This was funny. Okay.
आमा हामी चाहिँ नजाने पर्दैन बाबु मरिन्छ त्यहाँ बाले भने हैन जन्मभूमि र जन्म दिने आमा उस्तै हुनु भनेर पर्याखण्ड.
These particular politicians, the only thing that really made the Nepalese to be so mad is the fact that if you look at their houses, it was full of gold. If you look at the clothes that they are wearing, the shoes, luxury, Louis Vuitton, and then if even the rings, these rings that they were wearing, it was really expensive if you check on them on the website, the food. But on the other hand, if you see the lives that the people of Nepalese were living, it was sad, poor, terrific, I can honestly tell you. So the prime minister, of course, escaped. Yeah, he had to escape. but he left his wife behind, and of course, yeah, that was really sad. So I don't know what you actually learn from this Nepal protest. Tell me in the comment section what you think about it. And it's I will say it's just good to be a good leader. If you're given the opportunity to lead, be just. If there is money that is meant for the road, build the citizen the road. Don't actually build a bad road and then take the rest, like enriching yourself. Like this house that was burnt, the house that was actually burnt down, it belonged to a politician, a very big house, two-story building house for one family, and there is a family of Nepalese citizens that could not even afford, a house. They lived in a very bad condition, guys. These trucks for the police that were going around manning the city, Nepalese people decided to go down, under the car, just in front of, or just in front of the tire, and they slept there because they were actually preventing it from moving around. And there is no way the police could have dared like run over this guy. They just had to stay there and stand still. I don't know if this guy left at the end of the day. But yeah, these demonstrations, they're like, to hell with years of corruption. It's the end, it's the end. So let's comment down below. What do you learn from, the protests in Nepal, and also the foreigners in Nepal? How did you survive that? Because, of course, there are some that were not expecting that a protest would occur, or probably there was news here and there, but they're like, no, it can't happen. Like, even if it happens, the impact is not going to be that big. But you can see it was so big. I think even the airports were closed because, yeah, how do people travel in or drive through streets that were with thousands of people? you know Thank you so much if you watched this particular video up to this point. I appreciate your presence.